All right. Okay, lads. So here's a seal pill for all of you guys interested in geopolitics. I'm just glad I can use the letter N again. All right. So North and South Korea just agreed to peace talks. It looks like barring any typical like Kim trickery, right? We're looking at the end of the Korean War, and that would mean the end of 3/4 of a century of stalemate on the Korean border. Let's go down the list of why this is fucking great for me, and awful for everyone else who you're likely to be listening to on, politics. Oh, geez, where to start? Okay, so the first thing is that Iran and North Korea are right. We know they've been in communications during the Iraq War. Certain generals, and Larry Elder, who's not a general but who talks to them, thought that Saddam Hussein's WMDs might have been shipped to North Korea through Iran and Russia, and such. I don't think that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, at least not by the standards I would call anything weapons of mass destruction. I don't think they had anything to begin with. I don't think the Russians would have let them transport WMDs through Russia. And how else would they have gotten them there? Right? Like Pakistan? No, Pakistan, ironically, is basically one of our allies now. So, no, that wouldn't have happened. But what definitely is true is that they are in communication, right? Iran and North Korea are communicating. We know this. We also know that Iran has a nuclear program, and it's on its way to actuation. They can claim that they don't. That's fine. Let them claim whatever they want, but they do. And in their position, I don't think any sane person thinks that Iran is not building nuclear weapons. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? We are perpetually 5 minutes away from invading them, and the easiest way to make that go away is for them to wave their nuclear dick around. Right? So, they say it's for nuclear reactors, but maybe why risk war with NATO over nuclear reactors? Like, no, it's for nukes. It's obviously for nukes. You know who has nukes? North Korea. The end of tensions between the Norks and us basically opens a lot of doors for Iran. One of these is, the ocean, right? It isn't implausible at all. But at some point in the next 10 years, you're going to see Iran test a nuclear device. And if that happens, you can bet it's because the North Koreans slipped them one under the table. If that happens, right, and they won't do it unless they have 2 or 3 of them to test, right? They won't even show their hand until they have an arsenal. It means that American and Israeli ambitions in the Middle East are over. Iran doesn't give a fuck about the Nuclear Proliferation Act. Why would they, right? No one stopped Israel from building 50 nukes and pointing them all at Tehran. Right? Syria could get nukes. Anyone in that region could get nukes. The Nuclear Proliferation Act isn't worth the paper it's printed on. Once a country has nukes, one of the options that go off the table, for us at least, is delivering airborne freedom to their capitals via F-35. If Iran becomes nuclear capable, our only option is to back the fuck off. Because if there's any country on the planet that's going to drop a nuke on Tel Aviv, it's going to be Iran. Right? Ahmadinejad might have shown some restraint. You could have probably reasoned with Ahmadinejad. Rouhani does not give a fuck. With American and Israeli interventions in the region curtailed, who's going to get the dick? You tell me. Saudi Arabia gets the fucking dick, and boy, do they deserve it. The Saudis, if you don't know, they're pretty much the driving force behind the wave of Wahhabi Islamic craziness going on in the Middle East. They're the linchpin of the deranged Saudi Sunni American alliance that we have going on. I still don't understand why we're doing this. Actually, yes, I do. It has its roots in the 1974 Saudi-American debt pact, where the Saudis agreed to trade oil only in U.S. dollars and press the rest of OPEC into agreeing with them to do this. And this is right. So if the Saudis go down, and the U.S. can't just intervene and prevent it from turning into no. Even if we do intervene, actually, the response is just nuke Dubai, a few oil fields, and Tel Aviv, because right, you know why. That's it. It's over. The game is over. The U.S. dollar is no longer the global reserve currency. Oh, right. That brings us to the next thing, right? Which is America is fucked too. Pop quiz: why hasn't the U.S. budget tanked yet? Why don't we look like Weimar Germany? We're $24 trillion in debt. We're running a deficit. We basically print our entire budget every year. We don't actually export anything except cruise missiles, other people's satellites, and shitty movies. And we haven't run a surplus since, I want to say 2001. Yeah. Since the start of since 9/11, we have not run a surplus. So how do we still have an economy? It's because no matter how retarded our fiscal policy is, the US dollar is still the world reserve currency. If you want to trade oil, you do it in dollars. That means that we can bully whoever we want. We can do whatever we want. Everyone still needs to either trade with us, trade with someone who trades with us, or produce their own oil. If this hegemonic control of the oil supply goes away, we've got nothing. We've got nothing. I guess we have a lot of land and a huge military, but that's why we're not going to lose hegemonic control of the world reserve currency. Though I'm now explaining how that might happen, but that's why we haven't lost it yet. Our economy will correct for this if it happens, right? And it will probably happen overnight. The results will be apocalyptic. I mean, like balkanization levels of apocalyptic. Half of the states' economies would simply collapse. The other half would find out really fast that being part of the United States is a liability rather than an asset. Right? Who wins and who loses in this scenario? State-wise. Well, you lose if your economy was intrinsically tied to U.S. trade. You come about even if your economy was primarily tied to interstate trade. And you win if your economy was held back by U.S. sanctions and your energy superpower status has been subordinated to the dollar being the global reserve currency. Yeah, Russia wins. With the Ottoman wall strategy permanently ruined by Iran and Syria being nuclear states. I mean, it's done, right? Their primary adversaries will be crippled on both sides. China is fucked if we go down. And obviously we're fucked. What happens, right? We'll have gone from a 2 superpower world to a 1 superpower world to a no superpower world, and then back to a 1 superpower world. But this time it speaks Russian. So yeah, no, this looks pretty great, for me. I tend to be very anti-United States in terms of foreign policy. I think that what we're doing is fundamentally evil. So I'll welcome a change, even if it means that my nation loses great influence and power. It's unfortunately necessary. We're the bad guys right now, so we need to be taught a lesson so that our people can purge our government. But, right, I should probably clarify. I'm not saying that this is what is going to happen, but this is all well within the realm of possibility, right? Our options right now are basically to either double down on our current strategy of desperately trying to topple Iran before they reach nuclear capability, or we could back off and try to negotiate either a pan-Arabic alliance. No, that won't work. That's not going to work. Oh, okay. Our other option would be to negotiate something amicable with the Shiite bloc. But that would mean, peace. I don't know if we've got it in us, lads. We have an entire generation who have literally grown up without knowing what peace is. They've never known an economically stable country. They've never known a country that wasn't in the midst of political upheaval. I honestly don't know if it's possible to campaign on an anti-militaristic platform, or if such a thing could even be allowed by the current establishment. But, we'll see. We'll see. That's it for me. Jingo signing out.